This is Bill Guy. I want to talk to you today about photographing your artwork. I'm going to tell you how the pros do it and how you can do it too. First, how the pros do it. Of course, they're using their studios to do so because it gives them the best control. One of the ways they do this is by using controlled lighting. They use their photographic lights being set up on either side of the images so that they are getting soft, natural light without shadows or hot spots. They're using a tripod. By using a tripod, that's going to give them the best control over their camera so there's no camera shake and the framing is perfect. Also, they use what's called a color reference. I'm going to talk about the color reference in just a few minutes, but by putting this color reference in the image, the labs are able to print from these images with industry standard color references, meaning the reds are red, the greens are greens, and the blues are blues. So how do you do this at home? Well, you always want to find your spot first. This is going to be an area where you have your lighting can either be natural or artificial. You have your image up so that it's not being affected by what's on the floor, color cast, or anything like that. And you're using either natural light or your own lights. You don't want to mix lighting when you're doing this, so you want to pick one or the other to do this. Doesn't matter so much the source of your lights, but it's the coverage that matters. Let me explain. Non-directional light works best. By non-directional light, I'm talking about north light or a shaded area. North light and shaded areas have a very non-directional type of light, good coverage on it, does not have a directional sense to it where you're seeing shadows being cast across your colors, or if you have a heavy brush style in the crevices or anything like that. You want to avoid these shadows and strong highlights or specularity on your artwork because you're not going to get the best look from doing it that way. If you want to use artificial lights, you want to make sure you double up. By doubling up, I mean have at least 2 light sources set up on either side of your artwork, and maybe even one behind you to help eliminate shadows and hot spots. One thing else you can do is you can go ahead and put like a piece of white paper or white cloth in front of your lights, giving it a much larger light source, a much softer type of light, but do not let it touch the light. If you do, the heat of the light can catch things on fire, and that's not something you want to do to add excitement to your work. For holding the lights, you can even go ahead and use these type of simple light holders that you can find in any hardware store. All they are is just a light with a cord. You screw your light source into it, fluorescent, LED, or even incandescent. Make sure you're using all the same light. You don't want to mix and match. That's going to throw the colors off. But you can set these up very simply around your artwork at a 45-degree angle or so, giving you the best illumination and look for your art. Tripod or handheld? Well, tripods are always going to be the best way to go. There's not going to be camera shake. You're going to be able to frame your images easier. It's a very simple safeguard for making sure you get the best shots. However, if your lighting is bright enough that you can do handheld, you want to take at least 3 or more shots, one right after the other. If you're doing this in a quick succession, one of them should be sharp. The angle of your shot is probably the most important thing. You want to be careful about tilting the camera. Once you set your artwork up to where you're going to be photographing in your good lighting, you want to make sure you're not shooting it too far down, up on your image. You want to make sure that the camera is then brought up to the image, much better for framing. Plus, you want to make sure you tilt that camera so that the parallel front of the lens is equal to the parallel of your image. This flatness will help eliminate any distortion that might come across. This distortion comes across in the way of what's called a keystone effect. Keystone effect is if you are too low on your image, the bottom of the image will be bigger than the top. Or if you're too high up on your image, let's say you're shooting it on the floor, the top of the image will be longer than the bottom. The longer your lens, the better. Most cameras will have a zoom type of feature on them where you're able to make the camera look like it's pulling stuff from further away closer in. This is called zooming in. The more you zoom, the better the look. If you are using a digital single lens reflex type of a camera, these are the ones that look like a 35mm camera with the longer lens on them. Anything 85 or 100mm or more is going to work great. It's going to help eliminate those type of distortions that shorter lenses can add to your image. If you're a camera geek who worries about f-stops, anything 5.6 or f8 or more is going to work great because f-stop determines the depth of field, and if you're photographing a flat object, it's not going to matter all that much. But if you're at f5.6 or 8, pretty much assured everything's going to be in focus. You will be able to check this when you bring it up into your computer, but helps eliminate a lot of problems if you're shooting at f8. Color references. What a color reference is, it's an industry standard that is used to help the lab calibrate the image and their printers to give you the best possible colors. This is so that the reds are really red, the blues are really blue, so on and so forth. However, if you don't want to go to the expense of getting one of these Macbeth color checkers, you can go to your neighborhood camera stores and you can find what are called digital gray cards. A digital gray card, such as these, are going to be things that will have like a white, gray, black card. Or you can even get one like the Kodak gray card here, where it has little color squares in there that are just like the Macbeth. These are industry standards that the lab can then target off of. All you want to do is just put these references right next to your artwork on the same plane and in the same lighting. Then, when the lab gets this image, with your image and the color reference card right next to it, they can target off the color reference card to get the colors correct. They will then crop the image so that you don't see that card and produce your prints from there. You want to make sure, as I said though, that they are right next to your image, in the same lighting, and they are parallel to the surface. Meaning you don't want to have it like 2 to 3 inches deeper than what the surface of your image would be. So you get your images. What are you going to do now? Well, of course, you're going to load them into your computer so you can check focus and things like that. But do nothing to these files. Send the file just like it came out of the camera to your lab. The labs have the ability to color correct for both colors and exposure to give you the best possible look. All their monitors have been calibrated, their printers have been calibrated. Let them do the heavy lifting. You just send them the file. If you're modifying them with programs like Photoshop or Lightroom or things like that, you can throw the colors off so that you're not going to get back exactly what you would expect. So do nothing, just send them the file. I'm going to have other videos that's going to talk about these softwares for those of you who do use Photoshop or Lightroom to add more artistic touches to your images, or if you're a photographer, how to get the best looks out of these software for what it is you want to do. But if you're just simply photographing your artwork, just send them the file as it comes out of the camera. Guarantee you the lab's going to do a great job for you. This is Bill Guy. I want to thank you for watching, and keep looking on this website for other videos coming up talking about software and even photographic techniques that's going to help you in your life.